watching Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. A championship on the line at the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The Iowa State Cyclones of the Big 12 lighting up the scoreboard, battling the Boise State Broncos of the Mountain West Conference, looking to remain undefeated on the season. Both teams faced and overcame adversity to get to this point in the tournament. Cyclones eked out a 2-point semifinal win against Tulsa. The Broncos escaped in the quarterfinals by 2 over UTEP to get to the title game. Alongside LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Fonz, star power on display for both programs.
A future pro and Chandler Hutchison had a tough time in the first game, but came out in the semifinals and went off, showing an array of skills, the ability to get to the rim, knocking down threes. And how about the finishes there? Absolutely took over the game. And now getting ready for the Iowa State Cyclones. Nick Weiler-Babb, 6'5", has secured the point guard spot for the Cyclones, and he's been sensational. A triple-double absolutely waiting to happen. How about this, folks? In the last 2 games, 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. He's a dynamic distributor and playmaker.
Iowa State started this season off 0-2, had a players-only meeting Tuesday before they left for Myrtle Beach, a 1,250-mile trip, and they hit the reset button and have won 2 straight games here. They put up 104 points in round 1. This offense can be prolific.
They really can. They spread you out. They can take you off the bouncer. It really puts your defense at a disadvantage. You come help, they kick it out for 3, and they do a great job of pushing in transition.
Your officials tonight: Mark Schnur, Kelly Self, Lee Cassell. Iowa State in the home whites, the Broncos in the blue with orange trim, and we are just about set to get underway from the campus of Coastal Carolina University inside the HTC Center. The Cyclones hoping HTC, the H stands for Hilton Magic tonight, trying to win 3 in a row and claim a Puerto Rico tip-off championship, but it's the Boise State Broncos who control the opening possession.
Which Iowa State's going to have to be very disciplined in their helps, because if they come and help unnecessarily, now you open yourself up from threes. They're averaging about 12 made threes per game.
That's Chris Sengfelder, a grad transfer from Fordham, who opens the scoring with the first bucket.
Iowa State, in talking to Coach Prohm, in this 2-3 zone, they want to attack the middle of the floor and the baselines.
And they have a tall lead guard now in number 1 in white, Nick Weiler-Babb, who can see over that zone.
I love big guards for that very reason.
10 on the shot clock. Inside, Beverly. Solomon Young gets his own miss. Can't get it to go.
He's got to make those at point blank range.
Boise State coming in undefeated at 4-0, finished 3rd in the Mountain West last year. But they have a chance to really make some noise this year.
I'd like to see Iowa State play with a lot of pace, really push on makes and misses, trying to get this defense on his heels and get to the rim.
Here's 55 in white, Jeff Beverly off the mark. He's another grad transfer. Beverly coming over from University of Texas San Antonio, where he played some tight end for them. Multi-sport star.
I'd hate to try to tackle him and bring him down.
You can tell by the build.
That's a big boy.
Here's Alex Hobbs, an efficient scorer for the Broncos, and a really good straight line driver, as you saw right there, picking up the foul, and he'll go to the line.
And that's what you're going to see from Boise State tonight. A lot of dribble handoff action. They're trying to go north-south here and get in the lane, force you to step up. And if they can't score, they look to kick it across the floor.
There's Leon Rice, 8th season at Boise. All he's done is lead them to 5 straight 20-plus win seasons and 6 of the last 7. He's a Mark Few disciple. Started the bulk of his assistant coaching career at Gonzaga and brings over a lot of those principles to Idaho. And he says, we don't want to be elite scorers, we want to be elite ball movers.
And we've seen a lot of that here. This is a team that's averaging about 16 assists per game. And we talked about defensive discipline for Iowa State. It's going to have to be huge tonight. Rich, how about this? 7 20-win seasons in Boise State history since they joined Division I in 1970. And since he's been here, he's matched that number.
That word culture is used so much in college sports. He has created a winning culture in Boise.
And folks, keep your eyes on number 33 in white, the sophomore Solomon Young. He screens and dives hard to the rim.
4 starters lost. The name you would know the most, Monte Morris, all-time leader in assists and steals in Ames, Iowa. He's playing professionally now as Beverly knocks that one down. It was a chance for a 3-point play, and it's really going to be up to the guards replacing Monte Morris if this team for Steve Prohm is going to want to go anywhere. Morris gone, Donovan Jackson, Nick Weiler-Babb filling in his place, and Steve Prohm says those two are going to have to be great every night if we're going to win.
Well, there were some question marks about who the point guard would be. Nick Weiler-Babb, number 1 in white, has established himself to be that guy. 15 assists over the last 2 games on only 3 turnovers. That's Monte Morris-like.
Jeff Beverly completes the 3-point play. He's 10 for 14 from the free throw line. It's a good sign when your big man can knock down free throws, as Beverly did. Sengfelder couldn't get it to go from the right side.
I like the early push here.
Freshman guard number 5 in white, that's Lindell Wigginton, the highest rated recruit that Iowa State has seen in a decade.
Thought Iowa State had a nice cross match here. Beverly had one of the guards inside on him. They got to look to throw it to him on the inside. He's got a mismatch there.
Almost thrown away, but Weiler-Babb using that height that we talked about to snare that one, prevent a turnover. Solomon Young high off the glass.
Speaking of high, I am high on that sophomore. Excellent rebounder, uses his physicality in the painted area really well. And if he can establish the interior for them on both sides of the floor, this is going to be a very tough Iowa State team to deal with.
Still haven't had a shot from Chandler Hutchison. There he is on the wing, 15 in blue. Kicks it back out for Sengfelder. He's very adept at knocking down the 3, but couldn't get that one to drop.
Rich, they were fortunate there. There was a flat drive, and Iowa State came to help. That was a wide open 3 for Sengfelder, who can really knock it down. 42% from 3.
Here's Young working on Haney. Little fadeaway, that's really not his game.
Not yet. But this is his game. Watch Big Solomon Young, 6'8", 245 pounds, really sitting down nicely in the low post. And he's really good getting over that left shoulder. How about that soft little hook shot over the top? Need more of that from him as this game progresses.
They call him Solo in Ames, Iowa.
Oh!
And that was Chandler Hutchison, who went down hard and banged the back of his head. We can hear that from over here on the broadcast table. Amazing that he popped up so quickly.
Yes. Wow, folks, just battling up there for the rebound. And, ow, just lost his footing. Wow. He's going to feel that for a little while. And I'm interested to see if they're going to check him out at some point with all of the concussion protocols that are going on in all of sports. Man, he hit that thing pretty hard.
Here's what it looked and sounded like. Ouch. Wigginton missed the first free throw. A 6'2" freshman out of Nova Scotia by way of Oak Hill Academy goes 1 for 2. He had 17 in the opening round win against App State.
Big time scorer, led Oak Hill in scoring last year.
Hutchison stays on the floor, has another touch, off the window. And that's the best part of Chandler Hutchison's games. He is smooth in offense.
Well, he's so good moving without the basketball, and then he just glides once he catches it, as Lindell Wigginton, who's our X factor in this game. He's got a pretty nice touch around the basket himself.
Wigginton has the last 3 points for Iowa State. They lead by 3, 15:45 to go. Championship game from the Puerto Rico tip-off. Little dipsy-do from Chandler Hutchison. We'll have more on him coming up later in this show.
I love how hard he drives when he's going downhill.
Drive and kick, Wigginton, too strong. And a good job by Wigginton keeping that one alive. The lefty Jackson knocks down his first shot. And if he gets off early, look out.
Donovan Jackson, 25 points a game over the last 2. 26 against App State, dropped 24 on Tulsa.
Five minutes gone by. So far, it's been as advertised. 2 elite-level offenses going toe-to-toe in the Puerto Rico Tip-Off Championship. It's 11-7 with 5 minutes gone by in the first half.
Chandler Hutchison, the heartbeat and best player on this Boise State team, locked in and engaged on the offensive end, but Donovan Jackson, not to be denied on the offensive end, stepped up, lefty three, count it!
That's Mr. Jackson, if you're nasty. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Go to visitmyrtlebeach.com to plan your vacation. And by Gildan. Love your dad, but don't wear his underwear. Gildan, every thread counts. The back of his head hard against the floor, but he popped right up, didn't even come out of the game, and then in the huddle during the timeout, looked at his training staff and said, "Now I got a hard head, I'm fine." So you and Chandler Hutchison clearly share more than just that in common.
My head's a little bigger than his, but equally as hard. You can ask my mom about that one.
Well, you want to win this tournament. Clearly Boise State and Iowa State do, but if history is any indicator, success in March awaits the winner of tonight's game. West Virginia, Miami, Xavier, your last 3 winners, all 3 made it to the Sweet 16 in March, with Xavier going to the Elite 8 last year. Wow. That's why we love being here, Fonz.
Indeed.
Hutchison against the double team. Almost got it to go. Cameron Lard just checking in, a redshirt freshman and a big addition to this Iowa State team. He grabbed the rebound and he missed the first 2 games of the season and inserted back into this rotation, had 12 points, 11 boards in their quarterfinal win and 3 blocks in each of the last 2 games. He could be a difference maker inside.
There's no question about it, and as he comes along, he's a guy that's going to be a rim protector while being able to give them some scoring. A guy who can play both ends of the floor. I'm excited about his future.
Wigginton, great move in the paint, but he can't get it to go. And Justinian Jessup, one of the best shooters in this tournament, grabbed the rebound. Senkfelder alone for 3. Hasn't found the stroke just yet.
He doesn't miss too many of them. He's 42%, 11 of 26 so far in the season from 3.
Weiler and Hutchison toe-to-toe. Great matchup. Donovan Jackson, 2 for 2 from distance.
The dribble penetration, you cannot leave the strong side of the floor. It creates too long of a run to try to close out on the shooter. And I'll tell you what, Donovan Jackson does a great job of replacing on dribble drives.
He was 8 for 18 from distance in this tournament coming into tonight. He's 2 for 2 already in the championship game. Spacing is key for this Boise State offense. Why is that, Fonz?
Well, it allows them to be able to get angles to drive. Again, they're always looking to bait you to help, and when you help, now all of a sudden they skip that thing across the floor, and they're an elite 3-point shooting team, shooting 43% from the field as a group.
Beverly bodies up the Boise defense, comes up empty, and Jessup has another rebound from the left side.
Boise State's doing a great job of jamming the lane and taking away those easy little floaters and layups to the middle of the floor so far in this game.
Foul on the floor.
And folks, this is what Iowa State's so great at. Nick Weiler-Babb gets down into the gut, and if you help a lose vision, Donovan Jackson does a great job of relocating from one spot to the other, creating confusion for the defense who's going to help. He is excellent at it, and they do a great job of looking to find him. He's delivered 25 points a game over the last 2.
Maybe we're partial because we're both left-handers, but there are 2 lefty shooters in this championship game who are as hot as anyone you'll see from beyond the arc. Donovan Jackson for Iowa State, Justinian Jessup, number 3 for Boise State. Both are going to have a major say in who ends up hoisting the trophy tonight. Jessup hasn't attempted a field goal yet tonight. Jackson 2 for 2 from 3. Here's Lexus Williams, 2 in blue. Graduate transfer from Valpo with 3 on the shot clock. And a rebound on the weak side by Weiler-Babb. And look at him push tempo. Hutchison to the left side, had it knocked out of bounds. It's going to stay Boise State basketball.
I thought Hutchison had a clear layup. Nick Weiler-Babb sprinted back to get a hand on that one to keep him from what would have been a sure layup, because he's so good at that Euro step, sidestepping and using his length to get to the rim.
Rich Hollenberg, LaFonso Ellis, the rest of the ESPN2 crew. A championship will be crowned tonight in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The Puerto Rico tip-off championship between Boise State and Iowa State. The Cyclones using 2 6-0 runs to stake themselves to a 14-7 lead with 12:20 to go in the first half.
Rich, with Hutchison now on the bench, Hobbs, 34 in blues, got to get himself going.
Williams from the corner knocks down a triple.
Tell you what, you help for just a second and blink. They are such an efficient passing team and shoot it so well from the three-point line, Boise State.
Hans Brace, 30 in white, has checked in for Steam Pro Club. Another graduate transfer. He came over from Princeton.
Low post, foul line, corners are what's open against that 2-3 zone.
5 on the shot clock. Weiler-Babb all alone for 3. Couldn't convert. It's going to be Boise State basketball when we return. Chandler Hutchison's getting a blow on the bench, but he didn't even get to take a day off this week. With everybody else relaxing on Saturday, he had to go in the low post with Fonz. More on that when we come back. Boise State's Chandler Hutchison, a Wooden Award preseason top 50 candidate this year, thought about going pro after last season, decided to come back, and lo and behold, he gets a workout from a former NBA great.
Chandler, coming out of the NBA evaluation process, they said there was 3 things that they wanted you to focus on. The first one was your left hand. What have you done to improve your left hand, and can you show me?
Yeah, just working on it every day, you know, pounds, bringing in transition, and like you said, yeah, just, you know, being more comfortable. So if I'm bringing in transition, instead of the guys playing me here, I just want to use my left just to get around.
Nice. And the second thing that they talked about was you improving your three-point shooting percentage. I don't know why. You shot 38% from 3 last year, but what have you done to improve it over the summer?
Biggest thing is just, you know, getting those reps up, being more comfortable, wanting to be able to, if a guy is playing me, you know, because of my driving ability, that I could just step back and be comfortable knocking it down from far.
How many makes a day?
Started at about 500 over the summer, you know, just trying to get those, you know, on a lighter day, getting up to 500 makes, and then if I have some more time, you know, anything after that, 600, a couple more.
I'm not going down for the peoples. People want to see it.
Hopefully we'll get a chance to show you the rest of that a little bit later, but Chandler Hutchison, an extremely impressive basketball player, maybe an more impressive human being.
Yeah, his humility is just extraordinary. To know the talent that he is and how polite he is. I was really impressed with his character as we got a chance to share a few moments together yesterday.
Jessup doesn't need a lot of room to squeeze off the 3. Gives it up to Hobbs. He can shoot it from distance. Loose ball, Jessup picks it up.
And that's one thing that you cannot give this Boise State team. They crushed Illinois State on the glass. 20 offensive rebounds in that last game.
A plus 30 rebounding edge for Boise State.
Oh.
Lard almost had an easy 2. Another rebound for Jessup.
But I like the early push, and that's something that the Cyclones are going to have to take advantage of all night long. I think they have a speed, length, and athleticism advantage over this Boise State team. They have to exploit it in transition.
Senkfelder working on the freshman Lard. And that's experience over youth.
And girth over a slender body. But he's shown us a little bit of everything in this tournament. He can put it down. He's an excellent three-point shooter, and he's very comfortable with his back to the basket. Nice pass.
What a feed to Hans Brace from Nick Weiler-Babb.
Tell you, I've been so impressed with Nick Weiler-Babb's poise when he gets into the painted area. Always has his eyes up, and at 6'5", he can see over the top of the defense. Well done by number 1 in white.
Babb already has 4 dimes tonight, and we're just about halfway through the first half. Well, we haven't seen Chandler Hutchison since the last time out, and now he's heading to the locker room. And you never want to speculate with injuries, but you would only have to guess that maybe he's getting his head looked at a little more closely.
Yeah, and folks, we'll try to find out what's going on back there, so we're not speculating, but his head hit that floor awfully hard. We could hear it all the way over here, and we're nearly at half court.
And that will be a major storyline going forward. He is the heartbeat, as you said, Fonz, of this Boise State team. Maybe the best player in the Mountain West, and certainly one of the best in the country. This happened earlier in the first half, trying to grab a rebound, and his head just caromed off the wood.
And Rich, I've had that happen where I've had to hang on the front of the rim and your legs continue to carry it after a dunk and you land on your head, and sometimes it doesn't bother you right away, but then all of a sudden it creeps up on you and you start to get a severe headache. And these days you gotta take every precaution. So kudos to Boise State for not allowing him to get back into the game so soon.
Talley almost threw it away. Wigginton saved it. 1 on the shot clock. And a shot clock violation. Didn't get it off in time.
I'll tell you what, Boise State has come to play on the defensive end. Any kind of exchanges, whether it be dribble handoffs or ball screens, they are alert up in the lane and not allowing this very quick Cyclone team to get downhill with dribble penetration.
Only 12 points for Boise State, who's such a prolific scoring team. What's Iowa State doing defensively?
They're doing a really nice job of handling their exchange. Watch this here. The bigs are doing a great job of taking away the initial thrust there, making it difficult for them to get down in the lane. That's one of the few times Boise State has successfully gotten down into that lane off of that curl action.
Alex Hobbs was lobbying for an and one. I don't know if he's going to get it, though.
And again,
they wanted goaltending on that one. I don't think they got it.
With Hutchison out of the game, Alex Hobbs, 34 in blue. He can absolutely get buckets in bunches and in a hurry. He's going to have to step up his offensive game here to fill in the void that's been left by Hutchison. Let's take a look and see if there was goaltending here. No, he got that on the way up. That's a good block.
Hobbs now 3 for 4 from the line, 3 points tonight, and it's just a 4-point Iowa State lead. 18-14, counting down to 8.5 to go in this championship game between the Big 12's Iowa State Cyclones and Boise State Broncos from the Mountain West, and an easy 2 for Solomon Young on another pretty Cyclone assist.
And folks, we talked about how good this Cyclone team is when they're setting that high ball screen. Nick Babb, excellent passer, but it's set up by the hard screen and roll by Solomon Young.
Jessup, his first try off the mark. Weak side rebound to Zoran Talley, the 3rd grad transfer to enter the game for Steve Prohm. Solo tries it and knocks it down. The big man feeling it.
Show your game out there, Solomon Young. He's much better in the low post with his back to the basket, but he's been working on increasing his range, and you see the fruit of that labor on that last possession. Boise State's got to throw that basketball back inside. They were playing inside out early and had a lot of success. We haven't seen it go in the post in a while.
Here's Williams. Reason why might be David Wacker, number 33, is limited offensively, and he's the only real big man on the floor right now for Boise State. Nice jumper, high rise from number 5 in white, Lindell Wigginton. He has 5, and Iowa State jumps back up to double digits with their lead, 24-14, 7:14 to go.
Solomon Young started 12 games last year, starting mid-February, and they needed to establish someone in the low post to give them a presence. He's been active here early with ball screens, not only low, but how about the big fella stepping out and training a 15-footer? I was on the run.
Thank you very much. Those Florida Gators will be heading out to the Great Northwest to take part in the PK 80 presented by State Farm. They're in the motion bracket, Fonz, and they're going to take on Stanford on ESPN2. And then the victory bracket features just a couple clubs you might have heard of. North Carolina, Michigan State,
yes.
Oregon, a Final Four team a year ago. It is a loaded 16-team field.
And Miles Bridges of Michigan State has been as advertised. 28, 3 assists, 3 block shots, and 42% from 3 on the season. He's been phenomenal.
Still no Chandler Hutchison on the floor or on the bench for Boise State. If you're just tuning in, the best player on Boise State went down, hit his head hard, stayed in the game, but at the first time out after that fall, he went into the locker room and we haven't seen him since.
And I went over to check with the SID. They don't have any information. As soon as I find out, I'll let you know. Middle of the floor, Rich. Gotta make plays.
The transfer from Princeton has an early 4 points.
And against that 2-3 zone, we've said it all night long. Free throw line area, low post, or the short corners there. Nice job there on the interior by Hans Brace.
Steve Prohm doesn't make any excuses for their first 2 losses. One was against a good Missouri team, and then they got drilled by Milwaukee at home. But getting back Cameron Lard, number 2, and Hans Brace, number 30, has meant the world to this Iowa State club because now they can set their rotations. Here's Dickinson.
And folks, against the 2-3 zone, there's a lot of ways that you can attack it, but one of the principal ways is getting it into the middle of the floor, that free throw line area. Watch Hans Brace. When you turn, you got to look weak side and then look to attack the basket. I like it better when bigs catch it, look at the rim first, then weak side, but I like him making quick decisions. Hans Brace made a quick decisions there, and when you do that, you are successful. Hans Brace doing a nice job of catching there. Skill big, who can space the floor. Really well done by number 30 in white.
Wacker goes to the bench. A little more offense on the floor now for Leon Rice as number 11, Zach Haney, is checked in. Dickinson missed the first free throw and the second one as well. And Donovan Jackson back on the floor for Steve Prohm's Cyclones handles the rock. An 8-0 run is now a 10-0 run for the Cyclones. They're up 14.
And Boise State's defense is forcing Iowa State to take some tough shots. They're just making, they have some elite shot makers out there on the floor right now.
That's the first bucket for Nick Weiler-Babb, but how about 6 assists in the first half already? Tough shot by Alex Hobbs. And here come the Cyclones.
It's clear with Hutchison out, that offense is discombobulated right now. They are having a tough time scoring the rock.
That one looked good off the hands of Jackson, his first miss from distance. Dickinson got the space and knocked down the 3. He had 4 threes in their quarterfinal win against UTEP.
More of a catch and shoot guy. You don't see him shooting very many off the dribble, but he's at 64% on the year, 7-11, now 8 of 12 from the 3-point line.
Jackson uses the screen by Young. Back-to-back misses for Donovan Jackson. Senkfelder. A couple of Northeastern foreigners. Senkfelder from Fordham against Hans Brace from Princeton.
We talked about how skilled he is. We've seen him knock down a 3 in this tournament, put it down there, and is really good with his back to the basket as well. Folks, Christian Senkfelder is really good putting it on the floor. How about the shot fake to freeze the defense and force Hans Brace to put his hands down, and he just scores over the top. I love how patient and poised he is when he gets that basketball into the painted area.
Lead back to single digits. If you recall, Boise State in the opening round of this tournament had to use a 13-2 run in the final minute 12 to come back and advance just to the semifinals. So they have faced adversity before and have overcome that. They're going to have to do a little bit of the same tonight in the championship game.
Yeah, in order to do that, Senkfelder's going to have to knock down some 3-point shots.
There's Lard with the throwdown. Cameron Lard looming large in the low post.
He's going to be awfully good for the Cyclones going forward.
Jessup.
That's a tough shot.
And Lard grabs the rebound. Open three from the wing. He won't miss many of those, Donovan Jackson.
It's Boise State's got to continue to reverse the floor. Same side jump shots is not their strength.
Hobbs guarded by the smaller freshman Wigginton. 10 on the shot clock. Jessup. And he hasn't found the range tonight. Good hustle by the Cyclones to save that ball in bounds. Coming up on 3 minutes to go. First half, championship game of the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Cyclones looking for their third straight win. Boise State looking to remain undefeated and move to 5-0 on the season. That ball goes out of bounds with 2:49 to go, and Iowa State up 30-19. The youngster, Cameron Lard, getting involved.
Cameron Lard really looming large here. Throws it down hard. The Cyclones are moving.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter. And by Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Thank you, Seth.
That was only in practice. Feast Week presented by Lowe's in South Carolina, not once, but twice, going on simultaneously with us here in Myrtle Beach. The Puerto Rico tip-off is the Gildan Charleston Classic. That final is coming up at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN2 as Temple takes on Clemson. A little bit of home cooking for the Clemson Tigers and Brad Brownell.
Got to keep your eye on is Temple's Obi Netchionia rather, and he is an excellent inside-out player. 6'8", can shoot it from the outside. Excellent with his back to the basket as well. What a move.
Nice move by Zach Haney. Comes up empty. Another rebound by the freshman Lard.
Rich, I know he didn't make it, but I don't think they've done enough of that, Boise State.
And I love Lard running the floor. He got down there, got into post position.
And Rich, that's what I think is happening right now. I think the Iowa State Cyclone speed is overwhelming Boise State. They're used to being able to come off of those little off-ball screens open. They've been able to take those away because they're sprinting behind them, running guys off shots, and in transition, the bigs have been impressive for the Cyclones running the floor.
Donovan Jackson's missed his last three. Five to shoot for the Clones. Wigginton does, and knocks it down with a hand in his face. Lindell Wigginton has 8 points.
He's our X factor for this game. He's got a poise and a maturity about him on the offensive end that's beyond his years.
Here's Jessup.
That's not a Boise State shot.
And the best shooter on this team has yet to knock one down this evening. Justinian Jessup, 0 for the field.
Ball reversals inside out is Boise State's game.
And that one rolls off. The whistle blows play dead with 1:22 to go. And there is a harrowing sign for Boise State as Chandler Hutchison, with his head in his hand, is in street clothes, or at least warm-ups, and doesn't look like he's going to be re-entering this game anytime soon. He hurt himself at the 16-19 mark of the first half when he hit at the back of his head extremely hard against the floor. To his credit and his toughness, he stayed in until the following timeout. Then the staff took him inside the locker room to be further evaluated, and it looks like they're calling it a night for Chandler Hutchison.
Oh my goodness. Yes, and as soon as we have more information, we'll certainly relay that information to you. I went over to check with the SID. He didn't have much information for us. But that's not a good sign when your star player comes out in practically street clothes.
And listen, it is extremely early in the season, and precautions are taken, and we credit all the decision makers for taking those precautions. You want your best player in a championship game, but there are bigger picture things at stake.
Absolutely. You got to protect the player. Not only is it there a long season coming up, but winning is important, but the livelihood and the health of these young people is a lot more important even than that. So to your point, Rich, I think precaution should win out, and it has.
We got to spend an extended amount of time this last week here in South Carolina with Chandler Hutchison on a couple of different occasions. And believe me when I tell you that no one is more disappointed than he is right now.
Such a competitive guy, very team-oriented guy. I mean, you could see him basically put his face in his hands. He's so upset he can't be in this game helping his teammates.
Weiler Babb slipped. The ball goes out of bounds with 1:08 to go. They're actually going to call the foul on Lexus Williams. That's going to send Nick Weiler Babb to the line. Weiler Babb just one field goal tonight, but as usual, affecting the game in so many other ways. He leads the team with 7 assists. 1 for 2 from the field. Knocks down the first free throw.
And Rich, I've watched him play on television, but looking at his speed and quickness, like here live and in person, it's really impressive.
Well, how about this? He's one of 3 players in college basketball right now, averaging 17.5 a game, 7.5 rebounds, 5 assists, and shooting 60% from the field. John Axel Goodmanson from Davidson, Tyron Atwood from Lamar are the only other 2 players in the country.
Well, I was talking to the coaching staff before the game, and they were kind of looking for their identity early. Putting him at the point guard position, they feel like they've established their identity.
It's the largest lead of the game for the Cyclones with under a minute to go. They're up by 16 and have a chance to add to that lead.
Shots are hard to come by with their superstar out of the game.
Race off to the right. Chased down by Lard. And that almost served as an alley-oop lob from falling out of bounds by the freshman.
I've been really impressed by the activity. Cameron Lard, number 2 in white, looks like he's limping up the floor.
And still hustling down the floor on defense. And tried to get that block. But you could tell he is definitely hobbled.
Grabbing the back of his legs there. I wonder if it's a hamstring issue.
Best case scenario, you hope it's a cramp.
Got to screen the edge of it. With this 2-3
5
zone.
seconds left in the half. 2 seconds. Wigginton drops it in from the baseline to end a dominating first half by the Iowa State Cyclones. 39-21, sorry, Fonz.
Rich, with Hutchison out of the game, they have not, Boise State, been able to establish anything on the offensive end. And Iowa State's speed and quickness has taken over this game.
39-21, the Cyclones lead halfway to a championship in Myrtle Beach. Now, we go to Trevor Scales and Seth Greenberg in the studio. You're watching Feast Week, presented by Lowe's, the championship game of the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And the Big 12's Iowa State Cyclones have jumped out to an 18-point lead at the half, 39-21 over Boise State. Inside the HTC Center on the campus of Coastal Carolina University alongside LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg. It's been all Iowa State in the first half, but it was a close game early on until the star for the Boise State Broncos, Chandler Hutchison, came down hard on the back of his head. He went out of the game, and after that, the Cyclones really took over.
They had no answer for Lindell Wigginton, the freshman who led Oak Hill in scoring last year. And how about this injury? Oh my gosh. And this was a game changer for Boise State. Their best player and motivator out there on the floor had to leave the game. They were only down by 4 points at that time, and you can see how disappointed he is with his hands in his face. But it was an opportunity for the freshman, Lindell Wigginton, who led Oak Hill in scoring last year. He's our leading scorer in this game today. He was scoring it in a variety of ways, knocking down threes, step backs, getting in the lane. And when he needed to make a difficult shot, he was able to do it over the top. How about 6'2", but he's playing big today.
In a high-scoring game between 2 high-scoring teams, He's the only player tonight so far in double digits. Wigginton has 10. It's an 18-point lead, and there you see Chandler Hutchinson will be watching the rest of this game from the Boise State bench. A huge loss for Boise State. Let's see how they respond in the second half. There's Nick Weiler-Babb. He finished the first half with 4 points and 7 assists. And Jessup in the starting lineup to start the second half, picks off the pass.
And it's Alex Hobbs, number 34 in blue. He's got to get himself going on the offensive end because he's one of the few guys that's on the floor for Boise State right now that can create his own shot.
Well, when you're a leader of the team, it doesn't matter if you're in street clothes or in uniform. You're going to try to exhort your team to victory, and that's what Chandler Hutchinson is doing. That just shows a little bit of what is one of the best leaders in college basketball. There's Solomon Young with a nice move.
Tell you what, coming into this season for the Cyclones, the question mark was their front line. And I tell you, this group has stepped up and established themselves on the interior. Solomon Young has shown us a little bit of everything, a little bit inside, a little bit outside, that time inside. What a quick spin by the sophomore.
Young can't convert the three-point play. He has 8, and the lead has ballooned to 20. Here's Zach Haney working on Young. He's got some offensive skill, but he comes up short on that one. Grabs his own miss and a little flip shot over the shoulder for the first 2 of the night for Zach Haney.
And Rich, we talked about that in the first half. This Boise State team is better, especially without Hutchinson touching that basketball down in the post and allowing their bigs to try to get some buckets on the interior because they've been tough to come by on the perimeter.
Jackson has his 3rd 3 of the night. 9 points for Donovan Jackson.
How good has he been over the last 2 games? 25 points a game over the last 2.
12 more points, and he ties the Puerto Rico tip-off record for scoring. That stands at 71. Jack Gibbs last year with Davidson set that mark.
He can fill it up.
Hobbs, the tip by Haney.
And that's something that Boise State did in their last game against Illinois State. They dominated the offensive glass. 20 offensive rebounds in that game. They're going to have to do that here to climb back into this game.
They out-rebounded Illinois State by 30 in the last game. They were being out-rebounded going into halftime tonight by 9 by Iowa State.
Rich, there's one thing I noticed about Boise State today that they didn't do in their last game. In the last game, they were sprinting up the floor on missed shots. Today, they're a little bit jogging.
Senkfelder, the whistle blows. It's an offensive foul. Good rotation on the Iowa State defense. Iowa State started this season a 74-59 loss to Missouri. Then lost at home 74-56. They were combined 9 for 34 from 3 in those 2 games. Then all of a sudden they hit the reset button, come down to Myrtle Beach, about a 1,250-mile trip from Ames, Iowa. They add Hans Brace, they add Cameron Lard, and all of a sudden it is a much different looking team.
Well, remember at the beginning they were trying to figure out who their point guard was going to be. Which one of these 3 out in the perimeter was it going to be? And clearly Nick Weiler-Babb has established himself to be that guy, and since then they have been rolling offensively.
There's Senkfelder. His first 3 of the night gives him 9.
Rich, when you're down as much as Boise State is, you can't continue to trade baskets. They've got to string together 3 stops. We used to call 3 stops a turkey when I was playing in the league, and they need one badly here.
Jackson on the pull-up. That's the first 2-point bucket of the night for Donovan Jackson.
And that's what makes him so dangerous. He can make the straight-on 3-point shot, but if you run at him, he has an excellent escape game. 1 or 2 dribbles, and he can raise.
Shot over 45% from beyond the arc last year. That was the 4th best in Iowa State history.
44% for a career.
And look at that, great hands-on defense, forcing the turnover. Solomon Young, little face-up game, no good, but the offensive rebound on the weak side to Beverly.
See what I mean? The quickness of the Cyclones has really dominated this game. They're quicker to the basketball. They're playing tougher in the lane.
Dribble handoff to Wigginton. Beverly almost threw it away. And here comes Alex Hobbs. They're going to need his offense in the second half. But he threw it away to Jackson. Up ahead, Beverly for two.
Rich, Boise State's not a team that turns it over. They're usually efficient on the offensive end. The length and speed of the Cyclones have impacted their offense tonight.
And their defense has been impressive as well. Jackson in transition. Donovan Jackson has 7 points in the second half, 13 in all, and it's the largest lead of the game for the Cyclones, 52-28 with 15-17 to go.
At a time where you need your big three to step up and get possessions for you, he's shown quick hands on the defensive end, and he's so good at that little shot fake. Look at that, one escape dribble and the raise, and when he can sense a little blood in the water, how about a pull-up three to give them a huge lead? The Cyclones are rolling.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter. And by Dos Equis. Stay thirsty. Please enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Monday on ESPN2, the Maui Gym Maui Invitational gets underway from the Lahaina Civic Center. Marquette VCU at the top of the bracket. Michigan is in there. Notre Dame ranked 13th right now with a potential player of the year in Bonzi Colson. And 6th ranked Wichita State, led by Landry Shamet, Marcus McDuffie and company. That's going to be another fun one from one of the most beautiful venues that you will ever see in college basketball.
Connor Frankamp, Shaq Morris, 8 of their 10 top scorers from last season returning. But Cincinnati's not going to go down without a fight.
Lexus Williams out of the timeout knocks down a triple.
It's one of the few clean looks that Boise State has been able to get against this aggressive, long, quick, and athletic Cyclone team.
Neither team has shot it extraordinarily well from beyond the arc. That's just the 4th three-pointer for Boise State. Iowa State also with just 4 threes. Beverly misses from close range, and Haney snares it for the Bronx. Everyone's a shooter on the floor for Boise State, but they're missing their big gun, Chandler Hutchison. Went out at the 12:22 mark of the first half and will not return. Williams, same spot, same result. Back-to-back threes for Lexus Williams, the 6-foot redshirt senior from out of Valpo.
Yeah, coming into this game, he was only 3 of 10 from three-point line, but he's found his mark tonight, and they need it with Hutchison out.
6 minutes gone by in the second half. 18-point lead for the Cyclones. Wigginton, spin cycle, pretty. 14 for Lindell Wigginton, a consensus top 50 recruit.
This kid is tough. He's got all of it. Elevation, he's got strength, balance, and quickness, and a confident scorer.
Haney over the right shoulder again, not this time. And Weiler-Babb looking for another assist. That's blocked by Wacker and saved by Dickinson. Nice bounce pass. Oh, and a block from behind, but Wacker picks up the trash. Great defensive effort by Nick Weiler-Babb, but the Broncos still get 2.
Well, and that's what it's been like all night long. Contesting everything. Seems like at times the Cyclones have 6 players out there on the floor.
5 to shoot. Weiler-Babb goes strong at Haney, and Haney goes down. Nick Weiler-Babb will go to the line and shoot 2 free throws. When we return, Iowa State 12:35 away from a Puerto Rico championship.
It's a Phil Knight birthday bash with 16 teams, 2 tournaments, 1 time only. The PK80 starts Thursday.
Your evening is not complete unless you cap it off with Scott Van Pelt and SportsCenter at midnight on ESPN. Reactions and analysis from Dallas after the big game between the Eagles and the Cowboys. We'll talk Rams and Vikings after the Minnesota 24-7 win. And on the 5th anniversary of the butt fumble, Katie Nolan begins a countdown to the best not top plays of all time. That's SportsCenter with SVP. You and I next Monday night are going to be up at Syracuse for the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Syracuse against SVP's Maryland Terrapins. I'll say it on national TV right now. SVP, I've seen you down at the Verizon Center. I've seen you catching some Terps home games. How about come on up to the Carrier Dome and take on the Syracuse crowd?
That would be nice.
Right?
I don't know if he can handle all that pressure, though. That's a lot of orange.
20-point game. Illinois State has led from the jump, 12.5 to go. You have some fond memories of playing in the Carrier Dome. You almost went to Syracuse. You were almost an Orange.
Almost. I had the privilege of being 2-0 in the Carrier Dome during my day at Notre Dame. Derek Coleman.
You and I were kindred spirits all the way back then. We didn't even know it. I was up in the nosebleeds and watched Elmer Bennett hit a buzzer beater.
Yes.
You were on the floor for that one.
I made the pass, a little hook pass. He drilled that 3.
A lot of time coming off the clock for the Broncos. Williams for 3. Sweet stroke. Yeah, surprised that he doesn't have such a much better three-point percentage.
Yeah, his reads coming off the ball screens have really been excellent tonight. When they've gone underneath, he's been patient and able to knock them down over the top. They need a lot more of those to climb back into this game, but they've got to string together some stops.
Nice little turnaround jump hook by Zoran Talley, his first 2 of the night.
Out here in the late summer, Old Dominion transfer with 2 years eligibility remaining.
He was the Conference USA 6th Man of the Year last year for the Monarchs. Three to shoot. Williams does. Off that time, Senkfelder tried to keep it alive. Young comes away with it for Iowa State. Weiler-Babb, 10 assists already tonight. Can't get that 3 to fall.
Back-to-back 40-minute games for Nick Weiler-Babb as well. How about the stamina and endurance for #1 in white? Pretty impressive.
Williams, great offensive night for Lexus Williams. He has 14.
I love his toughness. Got to see him quite a bit when he was at Valparaiso, and he's a welcome addition and much needed addition to this team because they needed a point guard, and he's really solidified that position for the Broncos.
Struggled with some knee injuries the last couple of years, but he's now getting his master's in Boise in athletic leadership, and he's bringing that to the basketball team. Tally short on the 3. It's off Lard's arm. It'll be Boise State basketball. Under 10 to go, 58-41. Iowa State with the lead. We mentioned the Fonz almost going to the Cuse, but instead he did the Irish proud. Looking mean there, but we all know he's a sweetheart. Thank you, guys. I'm here with a tough matchup in his own right, the Fonz. But Fonz, give us your the 4-1-1 on some of these notable Feast Week tournaments that are coming up. 118 games across ESPN networks.
Wow. I mean, just lock in, go buy some popcorn and whatever your fancy is, get a few 6-packs or 8-packs, 12. What do they have now, 12-packs? And just sit back and watch a lot of hoops. Maui Jim Invitational is going to be awesome. Obviously, my team, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, are out there. Bonzie Colson off to another tremendous start, averaging a double-double there. And folks, we've got a lot of good basketball here in store for you. Already off to a great start with early season tournaments already.
And then on the right side of your screen over in Fullerton, California, you see the Wooden Legacy. I know we joked in the earlier portion of this game about how you almost went to Syracuse. I know when you narrowed your choices, you were almost choosing UCLA as well.
Correct, yeah. I actually decided to go to UCLA the night before, and my mom asked me where I decided to go to school. I said UCLA, and she hit me with that, "Oh, baby, can you stay closer to home?" So I ended up going to Notre Dame, and if I had a chance to make that decision all over again, I'd go right back. It was the perfect place for me. Met my sugar there.
Now he is South Bend's favorite son.
That's Digger.
Coming up after us on ESPN2, the Gildan Charleston Classic Championship. Fran Dunphy has led the Temple Owls into the finals. Brad Brownell's Clemson Tigers will meet them there. Dante Grantham, one of the leaders for that Clemson basketball team.
He's playing much better. I really thought his freshman year, Rich, I thought he was going to be kind of the guy.
Yeah, he has the body for it.
He does. And he just, they're having all kind of issues with that shot clock up there. It just won't get started.
Yeah, during the timeout, there was a power surge. The entire building didn't lose power, but all the scoreboards above us and above the baskets lost power, and now the officials are calling a timeout. That's Kelly Self at the scorer's table. We talk about how these teams are guaranteed 3 games in 4 days and how good that is for coaches to learn about their teams. You forget how much work it is for these players as well, and the officials at the same time. They've got to officiate 3 games in 4 days too. You see the shot clock should be moving. The game clock is, but the shot clock inoperable at this time.
Yeah, similar thing happened on that sideline out of bounds. They threw the basketball in, the game clock working fine, shot clock stuck at 27.
Now the shot clock is set at 22 with 9:47 to go. That's all that stands between Steve Prohm and a Puerto Rico tip-off championship. I don't think anybody in Ames would have guessed this would have been the result here in Myrtle Beach after the first 2 games of the season for the Cyclones, but they have turned the corner in a big way.
Yeah, Rich, I think this Cyclone team is undervalued in the preseason, and don't be surprised at all if they make a run for another Big 12 title.
Yeah, that's right. They've won 3 of the last 4 Big 12 tournament championships. Of course, if you follow the Big 12 at all, you know that Kansas has had the regular season on lockdown the last 13, trying to make it 14 this year. Lard, so bouncy down low.
He is.
Here's Hobbs. The handoff to Sengfelder, who knocks down a 3. Second 3 of the half for Chris Sengfelder, and he has 12.
And Rich, if Boise State can just get it to 10, they need to put 2 stops together here, 2 consecutive stops.
Lard, no. The rebound to Jessup. Justinian Jessup hasn't scored in this game, but he's been grabbing rebounds left and right. 8 rebounds tonight for the sophomore.
Miss Sengfelder. Sengfelder was wide open in that left corner.
Step back 3 is good. It's an 11-point game.
Timeout's coming here.
An 11-2 run by the Boise State Broncos without their star Chandler Hutchison. And with 8:35 to go, we have a ball game again inside the HTC Center with a championship on the line. We're back in 30.
Folks, Boise State in the midst of an 11-0 run. Let's take a look at how they did it. Sengfelder, 42% three-point shooter on the year, drills one there. And just as they're coming back up the floor, now all of a sudden the guy that we talked about that needed to get involved in the offense has been Alex Hobbs. He can score a lot of buckets in a row, and they need him to step up and make buckets now, especially with their star Hutchison on the sideline.
Alex Hobbs came in averaging 15 a game. And Nick Weiler-Babb out of the timeout with a quick bucket.
They're so good. Steve Prohm recognizing where mismatches are on the floor, and at 6'5", he can take the 6'1" Lexus Williams anytime off the bounce. Steve Prohm plays like a pro style. He finds out where the mismatch is out there, and in that case, again, at 6'5", such a height advantage. And if he can get down in the lane, he's so tall, he can just elevate over the top. Christian Sengfelder tried to come over and give some help, 43 in blue, but he was too late. Nick Weiler-Babb is explosive going to the rim.
It's a very interesting Iowa State team. 7 newcomers, only 4 returners, but 7 of the 12 players are upperclassmen. Fresh 30 for Hobbs and the Broncos.
Letchis Williams has to get downhill a little bit to make that skip pass.
Sengfelder thought about it. Another 3 for Hobbs, forced that one. And a rebound to Wigginton. There's Jackson on the wing, but he passed it up. Called his own number instead, and an offensive rebound to Cameron Lard.
That is absolutely devastating when the momentum is kind of going your way. You play a tough defensive possession and give up an offensive rebound. Missed opportunity there for Boise State.
Cam Lard doing a lot of the dirty work tonight for Iowa State. Lard out of bounds. Boise State basketball. (60-47). Iowa State's lead is 13 with 7:04 to go. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Go to visitmyrtlebeach.com to plan your vacation today. And by Gildan. Love your dad, but don't wear his underwear. Gildan, every thread counts.
It's a Phil Knight birthday bash with 16 teams, 2 tournaments, 1 time only. The PK80 starts Thursday.
Well, Phil Knight only turns 81, so this is the one and only time you're going to get to see 16 terrific basketball teams out in Portland taking place in 2 different brackets. The motion bracket that you see there with number 1 Duke, number 8 Florida, Texas is in there alongside 17th ranked Gonzaga. And then in the victory bracket, an interesting team to keep an eye on is the Oklahoma Sooners, Fonz. And since we're looking at a Big 12 team right here about to try to win a championship in the Puerto Rico tip-off, this Oklahoma team is going to be very interesting with Trae Young, a sensational freshman, Cameron McGusty coming off a great freshman year as well.
Yeah, 77% of their scoring return. And as you say, Trae Young is an absolute stud.
Juan Kruger has reloaded in Norman. Jessup. He has not been able to find the range tonight against the Iowa State defense.
At times they forced him to shoot that basketball more quickly.
Woo, what a zip pass.
Yes, indeed.
Grace underneath had it blocked. Sengfelder. A little bit of a moving screen there by Lexus Williams. You like that offensive execution.
Indeed. This Boise State's team is better when they're playing fast. And I know the Cyclones has a lot of speed and quickness out there on the floor, but when they force them to miss a shot, they got to get out and run.
It's been a 14-4 run for the Broncos to get right back in this game. 10-point lead with 5:53 to go.
Rich, what's happening right now is now all of a sudden Boise State is switching all of the exchanges, ball screens, dribble handoffs, and what happens is oftentimes as a ball handler, you come off and that defensive player's in front of you, it entices you to shoot jump shots. Think about it. It's been a while since Iowa State's been able to get downhill. They got to be more aggressive, looking to attack the painted area.
Wigginton. Young wasn't ready for it. It's been about 20 minutes of playing time since the Boise State Broncos were in a single-digit deficit mode, and now they are. Christian Sengfelder has knocked down 4 threes this half. He has 18, and it's just a 7-point Iowa State lead.
Rich, you see how good this team can be in transition, especially when you have a trail big who can knock down that 3 like Sengfelder.
Good hands by Jessup, forcing the turnover. Hesitation move, and he got his own miss. And it's a 5-point game.
This is the Boise State pace that we've become accustomed to, and they've gotten back into it, and that's what's gotten them in this game. Iowa State's got to get downhill or throw that basketball inside. It's got to touch the paint.
And all of this without Wooden Award nominee Chandler Hutchison.
Everything's one-on-one right now.
Wigginton, no. And here come the Broncos again. 3 for Lexus Williams. Too strong. And a big rebound by Hans Brace.
And the Cyclones got to go right back at them. They got numbers and speed and quickness.
That's what Weiler Babb does. He has 8.
What a game. What a game. I'd still run that same pick and pop action and try to get Sengfelder some open looks.
Sengfelder, unconscious. Chris Sengfelder has 20.
He showed us the full arsenal tonight. 3 bombs, taking it off the dribble, back to the basket.
14 points in the second half for Chris Sengfelder.
My goodness.
He has filled in the scoring void for Chandler Hutchison. Unbelievable. Iowa State led by as much as 24 in this game, and now it's just a 5-point contest. And the Cyclones can't buy a bucket.
When they've gone, the Cyclones, to the basket, they've gotten something good. When they've relied on the jump shot, it's just not been there for them. I'd keep getting it to Sengfelder.
2 grad students working on each other. Sengfelder, no, another rebound for Weiler Babb. That's his 7th rebound.
Since Donovan Jackson has had a touch. Number 4 in white. Got to touch the paint.
Jackson, step back, baseline, got it. What a pretty stroke from Donovan Jackson.
He's too good of a scorer to go so many possessions without a touch.
He's 6 for 12 from the field, and he puts his team back up by 7, 2:40 to go.
Credit Nick Weiler Babb for knowing that and getting into basketball.
Jessup. Shooter's gonna shoot, Fonz.
Incredible.
Justinian Jessup hit 53s last year. That's the 2nd most ever by a freshman at Boise State. He knocks his first one down tonight to bring the Broncos to within 4, 64-60.
And folks, it's the 3 ball that have gotten the Broncos back into this basketball game. They have 5 guys that shoot 40% or better, and they are red hot right now.
Thank you very much. There's Chandler Hutchison watching this game from the bench, but he's watching his Broncos stage a valiant comeback, trailing by as many as 24. The game is now a 4-point game. Iowa State, 64-60, but the Broncos in the midst of a 21-8 run. There's Donovan Jackson with 17 tonight.
And Rich, he had gone a long time without a touch, and we said he should get one. He's delivered 2 times in a row. Got to continue to feed number 4 in white.
Foul on the floor. It's going to go on Solomon Young.
How about the leadership by this young man? Getting over his disappointment from being able to be on the floor and help his team, but recognizing the value of leadership from the bench, being the best player out there on the floor. He's helped inspire his team to get back in this game.
We got a couple of graduate transfers on the floor in Sengfelder and Lexus Williams, but make no mistake, this is Chandler Hutchison's team.
No mistake about it. Rich, it's amazing, though, how cold they had been from 3, and then all of a sudden 1 or 2 go in, and they absolutely got hot. Boise State, a team that averages 12 made threes per game on the year. They're at 11 right now.
Rich Hollenberg, LaFonso Ellis, call your friends. We got a fantastic finish brewing here in the HTC Center. The Puerto Rico Tip-Off Classic Championship is on the line. Hobbs with the right hand. Back to a 4-point lead.
What a clever and creative score number 34 in blue is. I'd keep feeding Donovan Jackson. He's got the hot hand right now.
Jackson working hard to get open, and he is. Shot fake, fires, hits! How about Donovan Jackson? 4-3 of the game gives him 20.
Folks, Donovan Jackson for the Cyclone is absolutely taking over this game for his team here. And for you kids at home, you should watch how he uses screens. He doesn't just walk off them, but he uses different paces, different speeds to confuse the defensive player, and then he comes off of that thing hard. Look at how patient he is here. Initially, I thought it was 3, and I think initially when he caught it, his toe was on the line, but then he slid that left toe back. That was a 3 ball. But how Reggie Miller is coming off that screen, didn't he?
You say Reggie Miller, I agree. I was thinking Rip Hamilton as
Another
well.
one, yes.
Just working hard to find an opening and then having the presence of mind, as great shooters do, to get your stroke on.
And Rich, the key to that one is keeping your hips low. A lot of guys on that shot fake, they raise up and it takes away your explosive power to get that shot off. Kept his hips level and knocked down a much-needed 3 ball. Look at his hips. Stay nice and low. And through the shot, that's clearly a 3 ball. Well executed there by Donovan Jackson.
69-62. 1:16 to go. Can Iowa State hold on? They have led for almost the entirety of this contest.
Dribbling right now.
Williams gets the floater to go.
How good has he been here in the second half?
Alexis Williams has 16. And a foul on the floor with 58 seconds to go. A 5-point lead for Iowa State.
Fouls to give here.
The freshman Wigginton controls. Tapped out of bounds. It'll stay Cyclones basketball with 16 on the shot clock.
Boise State has 2 fouls to give here before they put Iowa State in the bonus.
Boise State just 1 timeout remaining. They get it inside to Young, and that's where those bear-like claws for hands come in handy. A 7'1" wingspan from Solomon Young snared that inbounds pass. A reminder, Monday on ESPN2, the Maui Jim Maui Invitational gets underway from the Lahaina Civic Center. Wichita State, the headliner there, ranked 6th in the country. Of course, Notre Dame will be in action as well. That could be a Shockers Fighting Irish final.
Let Young catch it and foul him right away. He's not had many free throw attempts on the year, only 5 attempts, but he's 60%, so he was the guy to foul.
Solomon Young, 4 for 9 from the field tonight for 8 points, along with 5 rebounds. He's missed his 1 and only free throw attempt tonight.
I think he and Lard are going to make a formidable duo in the low post area.
That one goes off.
Now, Rich, they don't need a 3. Try to get to the hole.
Lost it. It'll stay Boise basketball. And Steve Prohm wants to check that play. And they're going to go to the scorer's table. Under 2 minutes to go. It's reviewable.
Yes. But how about we talk about leadership? How about the awareness of the Iowa State Cyclones to be aware to even ask for the replay, knowing that it wasn't off of their hands? And the first guy I saw, it could have been someone else, but it was Nick Weiler-Babb, the junior.
That's a tough angle to know exactly who that went off of. At first, it looked like it was Hobbs. I think it should be Iowa State basketball.
I think it should be too, because I was looking to see if Donovan Jackson's right hand touched the basketball, and in my view, he did not touch the basketball. That should be the Cyclones basketball here.
And essentially, this serves as an extra timeout for both teams.
Yes,
Take us inside the huddles. What do you think Steve Prohm is telling his club?
Well, he knows that it's their ball, first and foremost, so he's telling them on the inbounds passes to make sure that they're strong with the basketball and give themselves room. And Rich, I always like my guards to line up behind the three-point line to give them room to sprint to the basketball, because what happens is oftentimes you get too low and you want to be at least 3 to 4 feet away from the sideline and from the baseline. As we said, Cyclone basketball.
So it turns out to be an excellent review called for by head coach Steve Prohm.
So for the Cyclones, you want to make sure you give yourself room to catch and catch it strong, because you're going to get fouled right away. Boise State, they'll probably try to go for a quick tie-up here. And if they can't get the steal or the tie-up, they'll foul right away.
Weiler-Babb will inbounds. He has 10 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds tonight. Trapped in the corner is Jackson, and he goes down and gets fouled.
Rich, oftentimes when you trap down there, I don't think they should foul actually right away. I think they should look to trap it, because what happens is you panic as a handler and you turn your shoulder and expose the ball. You could tie it up. The possession arrow was going towards Boise State. I thought that was a really poor decision there.
Yeah, and that was a
watch him turn the shoulder.
He had nowhere to go.
And all you got to do is tie the basketball up, and it's your possession. Missed opportunity there for Boise State.
Donovan Jackson at the line. He has 20 points tonight. If he hits a free throw here, he will tie the Puerto Rico tip-off record for most points in a tournament. 2 free throws gives Donovan Jackson the record.
2-possession game right now.
He's got the first. 71 total points in a 3-game tournament for Donovan Jackson.
If he makes this free throw, it'll be a 3-possession game. Boise State's got to push that basketball up the floor, and with Sangfelder in there, a trail 3 is likely.
And he's got the record. And more importantly, he's got his Cyclones a 7-point lead with 40 seconds to go.
He should switch the screen.
10-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
I think he traveled there when he caught the basketball.
Hobbs, no. Big rebound by Solomon Young. And there's Jackson all alone at the other end. That should do it for the Cyclones. 24 for Jackson. A 9-point Iowa State lead.
Valiant effort by Boise State to get themselves a chance to win this one down the stretch, but too much Donovan Jackson here. He's been extraordinary here in the second half.
74 points now for Donovan Jackson, a new Puerto Rico tip-off record.
And Rich, from what I'm seeing, especially knowing the growth of this front line that's going to take place, they are highly undervalued.
Well, time for tonight's player of the game, brought to you by Advocare. There's Nick Weiler-Babb, filling up the stat sheet in all 3 games, almost a triple-double again tonight. And he's the tournament MVP, and there's some Hilton magic in the HTC Center tonight. The Cyclones are Puerto Rico tip-off champions.
New team, a lot of new pieces, Rich. Boise State, valiant effort getting back into it, but how about the resolve of this Iowa State Cyclone team, knowing to get the basketball in the hand of Donovan Jackson, who is absolutely terrific in the second half.
75-64 is your final. Nick Weiler-Babb, 10 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. Donovan Jackson lighting it up again, going 9 for 15 from the field, 26 points, and hit some clutch free throws down the stretch. Steve Prohm and company are bringing a trophy back to Ames, Iowa. Iowa State, the champions of the Puerto Rico tip-off at Myrtle Beach. For everybody here on our ESPN crew, including our producer Andy Jacobson, director Praven Martin, and my broadcast partner, LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg saying so long from Myrtle Beach. Now stay tuned for a championship game at the Charleston Classic between Temple and Clemson, but we first send you to the studio.